StayCity Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose StayCity because StayCity is the smart choice. StayCity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship with initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Howth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be to try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killarney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill, people are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All-Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring your raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
A very good evening. The sun is beginning to drop here in the early evening sky in North Dublin, and it's the second part of our double header from Group 1 of the Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. Round 4, earlier we saw Coola comprehensively account for St. Bridget's on a scoreline of 128 to 13 points, but now it's the turn of Lucan Sarsfields, who lie second from bottom in the table against the highly fancied Kilmacud Crokes. Well, Joe Fortune joins me in our commentary position, and I suppose, Joe, first and foremost, to look at the table, it's I suppose on the basis of form, if nothing else, all the odds, all the smart money, all the pundits would point to a Kilmacud Crokes victory, but it may not be as simple as all of that.
No, and I think if you even look at the team sheet that's there for Lucan as well, like both teams are really bolstered here today by really, lads who have real experience at inter-county level, underage and at senior as well. I'm looking forward to this because I think it's going to be an extreme battle. Kilmacud obviously in the driving seat in regards to their own performance this year in comparison to where Lucan will be a small bit disappointed with some of their performances so far. But again, if you go back to that Lucan team and you look at the likes of Ronan Smith and Young Dowling, Paul Crummy, Chris, Charlie Kerr, Matt McCaffrey, John Bellew, like they have a serious group of players there who have played at a really high level as well. So I think we're in for an exciting one today. I think after what happened earlier, I think Bridget's are in trouble and really worryingly at the moment for them after losing Keane as well with injury a number of weeks ago. They're finding it really hard to get any sort of foothold in the table.
Looking, I suppose, at first and foremost Crokes, it's the 5th year of the management term of Donal McGovern and Kieran Dowling. Dowling an Offaly man, McGovern rather a dub. They had those championship wins in 21 and 22, a quarter-final appearance last year, and there'll be a sense, I suppose, of an opportunity lost last year, a sense of innate hurt given that they didn't go beyond the last 8 and they've scores to settle, I guess.
Yeah, beaten in a Leinster final by Ballyhale. Like, look, Kilmacud have an absolute serious sense of player coming forward from their second team, their third team, their minor teams. They've nearly got too much of a pick, to be honest with you. And if you look at that team sheet that's there, like very, very few of them have not represented Dublin at some level underage wise. Like you look down the middle, Brian Sheehy, really highly regarded as a young player, Eddie Gibbons, really, really highly rated goalkeeper. And then you go into the likes of Keane McGowan, Brian Hayes, who had a phenomenal year for Dublin this year as well. I really rate number 9. You'll hear me talk about him a lot today, Dara Purcell, super player. And then you have a forward line with Fergal Whiteley, O'Rourke, Conor Rian, Brendan Kenny had a really good year for the 20s as well. And Ronan Hayes seems to be back proper now as well. The one thing I'd say to you as well, if you look at the bench, again, like if we look at this, the Mark Rogans, the Quaylon Conways, the David Purcells, really highly rated young guy, Davy Crowe, Alex Constantine, Brennan Scanlon, like there's no other club in the county I think wouldn't have, like they are extremely talented players even on the bench. So I think it's harder nearly for the likes of Kieran and McGovern to actually pick their best 15. I think that's one thing that went against them last year, having their best 15 on the field all of the time.
Grogan is unlikely to play a part here today, but as you pointed out, Crowe and Considine there may see active service at some point this afternoon. I suppose in some senses, when you're blessed with an abundance of riches, maybe it helps that players are rehabbing from injury to allow other guys the opportunity to prove their mettle. Well, for Charlie Carter's Lucan Sarsfields, the Goran Supremo in his second year in charge alongside Dermot English, Kieran Murphy and Jerry Bellew, whose son John lines out at centre half back. Fair bit of experience there. The Crummy brothers will obviously, Joe, be very much to the fore. Who else do you expect to see lead the line for them today?
I think Lucan are the team that can somewhat get near the top 2 or 3, like can get near the likes of an Afina or Crokes, possibly based on their underage players coming through. John Bellew is a really typical, really strong physical man marker. You'll get nothing easy from him, and having Chris back for Lucan now is massive. And Paul inside, very dangerous. Kieran Dowling as well, can be very, very dangerous as well if the popper ball. I think this is going to be the best game now of the weekend, to be honest with you, because both these teams will want to lay down a marker now for the next few weeks, and Lucan have to.
Straight away, Ronan Smith has gone into the centre of the field for Lucan Sarsfields. They wear the green and white jerseys, Kilmacud in that very familiar purple and yellow kit. And straight away, great ball inside, chance perhaps of a goal. He poaches, well, my oh my. Kieran Dowling, I don't think could believe the way that ball hopped favourably for him. He had a great chance to put a ball into the back of Eddie Gibbons' net. He got the power on it, but he didn't get the accuracy. Who would have anticipated that inside the first 30 seconds?
Yeah, and I said, as you look, when Dowser's on form, like he can really break onto that elusive ball. Like he is very, very good. But again, you turn it around now, and Oisin O'Rourke has been doing it for the last number of years since he's not wearing that Dublin jersey anymore, and he's at 11. He just tends to drop off the 6 an awful lot and pick up easy scores, and Chris will know that as well. They're going to try and exploit the fact that he won't stay in on top of Chris either.
Straight away, Crokes turning it around. Oisin O'Rourke there with the score, and they lead by a point with the great goal chance having been spurned by Kieran Dowling just moments ago. Lucan, undeterred, working hard to try and gather control of the slither inside the Kilmacud 45. Spilled out over the far sideline. It's got cool here in Parnell Park. Very, very small crowd. We made the point earlier that, well, those logging on to try and get tickets for Oasis greatly outnumber the very, very paltry crowd that have come to watch this round 4 Group 1 fair here in Dublin this evening.
Yeah, it's frustrating, Sean. That's one of my bugbears as well. That's a great effort at it.
Isn't it? Ben Coffey, oh my, that is an absolute beaut.
Yeah, look, it's a serious skill, and Ben is well capable of that. But again, going back to the crowd, you'd love to see more people here. You see down the country the whole sense of engagement that they have. But look, that's something to look at going forward. I think for that there now, that piece of skill by Ben was exemplary.
Here go the Crokes. This is really good. Their wing half back has come forward, Bill O'Carroll, and he has doubled his club's tally. Puck out really put it on a plate for him, but some clever work out the park, and he was in a really good position, Bill O'Carroll. But you've coached Leinster winning Dublin minor sides and 20 sides going back. What is it, I suppose? And you made the point about Dalo earlier. There was, I suppose, a swagger about Dublin hurling for a time, but the club scene seems to be very much on the back foot. Is it across the board? Is it at football as well? Or
I don't think it's on the back foot. I think Coola showed in 17 and 18 that Dublin clubs are very capable of getting to the top level of club hurling in Ireland, but the problem with it is, I think, we have the numbers here and there are some exemplary clubs there, but at the same time it's that consistency, and I think the consistency not only from clubs but from county team as well, that's something that needs to be looked at more. But these two clubs here have huge numbers, there's huge facilities there, and there's no reason why both these clubs can't push on in the next couple of years.
Brilliant point from Dara Purcell seconds ago. Joe, I suppose, the point I was trying to make, albeit in a clunky way, was the connect with fans to bring people out. The quality of hurling I'm not disputing. We've seen it earlier. It's really good. And the opening few minutes of this game, blistering stuff. But why are the crowds not coming out to show the appreciation and respect for the hurlers?
it's maybe is it the length of the competition? Do you know, the bye weeks? Is there a lot of dead rubber games in it as well to a point? And I don't know. I wish I had the answer. For the last 3 years doing a bit of work here, you'd look over to the stands sometimes and you'd wonder, is it real championship at all? Like, but it's not that the players don't give it. Trying to find that connection, do you know, with the club scene, with the club scene here. It's something that's been missing a long time, and something that we're going to have to look at.
Ben Coffey was trying to make lightning strike twice, but it spilled back beautifully for Kieran Dowling, and he might have had that near miss in the opening minute for a goal, but he's got his first point from play, and it's a 1-point game once more. Beautiful score from Kieran Dowling. 3 points for Crokes, 2 for Lucan Sarsfields.
Dow's a good underage career with Dublin as well. You know, didn't push on yet at senior inter-county level, but well capable on his day of mixing it with the best.
Well, I don't know if John Bellew, that ball seemed to hit him as opposed to him actually make a clean attempt to connect with it. Conal O'Rian is working hard for Crokes. Purcell now.
This fella's a diamond.
Great pace about him, great zip of left and right. He scored a beauty from the other side, but he's missed this time.
Yeah, and maybe the commentator's curse, but I've been really impressed with him over the course of the last couple of years watching him. You know, his ability to cover ground. You know, he has to work that bit harder, I think, as well, maybe on the dirty ball on the ground, but he has exemplary talent, and himself and the brother now are going to be 2 big players for Crokes. Oh, here's a
this one has come into Coffey. He has an opportunity, but on this occasion the keeper is equal to it. Eddie Gibbons doing really well. It's spilled for Charlie Kerr, and he puts it over the bar, but danger again for the Crokes at the back. And on this occasion, well, Ben Coffey, after that glorious cut, almost adding a goal, and the sides are level after 5 minutes.
Yeah, Eddie did well there coming out like a great kid, and you know, he commanded that space. But a good score from Lucan, and Lucan they're ravenous on the ball at the minute. No more than this man, like, so they just don't need to be clearing that ball in on top of the spare man, because McGowan will mop it up all day long.
It's a lively opening to this contest, been treated to lots of quality in the opening 5 minutes, and 2 reasonably decent chances of goals for Coffey and Dowling in the Lucan attack, but both been thwarted by wayward shooting in the first instance, and a great piece of goalkeeping by Eddie Gibbons second time round.
Yeah, and just looking down at the line down here as well, Quillan Conway, like, he's a big loss, I think, for Crokes today. He pulls the strings at 11, gets off the 6 an awful lot, really, really well, and you'd love to see young Considine come on at some stage. He's been blighted by injury over the last number of years, and you'd love to see him get a real run, because he's potential as well to be a real goal getter for Crokes. One thing that's surprising so far is, like, you've Ronan Hayes inside at 13. You know, he's playing inside one-on-one. There's 40 yards of space on either side of him, and not one ball has been played in there towards him, so that's something that I'm sure the Crokes management are going to look at in the next couple of minutes.
Some great duels shaping up all over the field, none more so than Brian Hayes and Ronan Smith, who are testing the fabric of each other's jerseys, and well, there's a fair bit going on off the ball, but nonetheless the play continues with the score level. Fair old collision down there just in front of us, and Oisín O'Rourke has an opportunity, but he's outnumbered. Good work by Charlie Kerr, who scored that point moments ago. Skirmish down in front of us. Ball spilled. Poor Glinahan in there, working hard, but it's sent forward in the direction of Ronan Hayes. What can he do?
Oh, it's a poor wide from Ronan, he'll know that.
He was quite close as well to goal. He was certainly an opportunity that normally that corner forward would be well capable of converting. And with almost 7 minutes on the stopwatch, still nothing to separate the sides. 3 points apiece. Dowling, Coffey and Kerr with the scores for Lucan Sarsfields. O'Carroll, Purcell and O'Rourke replying in kind for the Stillorgan-based club. Back-to-back champions before coming undone in last year's quarter-final. This is a lovely mazy run from Brendan Kenny, mentioned in the build-up to the game as having oodles of talent. He's done well, and he's shared it again out to Hayes in the centre. He missed moments ago. He's going to pull the trigger again. Oh, great covering tackle. Luke Walsh, I think it was, got the hurl in where others wouldn't dare put.
He's on an advantage though. Yeah.
And the free will come to pass because he had missed the target, but strong, determined attacking by the Crokes, and a fine exhibition of the full range of skills. It was indeed Luke Walsh who made that great block.
I think Lucan will be disappointed there because there was that real in-your-face aggression from Bellew and Chris there as well, and their tackling technique seemed to be fine. I thought that was a bit soft maybe on, like, Ronan himself will know that he's broke inside there once. when he has a ball in his hand and he's on form, Ronan Hayes is a top quality forward, but he just has to work harder on getting it first time into his hand and making sure that he's on the move. But again, you look at Oisín, he's causing problems because he's going from 11 to 10 back again, and he's a really good free taker. I said it earlier on in the first game, for any team to get to the top level in a county, you need to have an extremely efficient free taker, and in fairness to Oisín, he's been excellent all year for Crokes.
Nice striking action straight through the ball, and it's a second for Oisín O'Rourke. Kilmacud, a point to the good. We saw Liam Murphy give a virtuoso performance from placed balls in the first game, and Kilmacud by a single point in a decent round 4 Group 1 encounter, and they go ahead. Dublin Senior Hurling Championship. The point as well, Ronan Hayes, he's a big man, he's very hard to handle, standing at well over 6 foot, as that one is sent goalward. But
there's your clip during the week though, there's your clip during the week on the basis of like that shot there selection. You're out on the left hand side, like Jack will know that himself, that's not good enough. You've got a player inside of Paul Crummey's talent as well. Give him the ball, or at least break the tackle and go at the man.
And the breeze doesn't favour you from that side of the park today either. Lucan playing with the aid of a crossfield breeze in this opening 30 minutes, as that one peters out over the end line, umpiring no doubt.
Yeah, Ronan just putting the hand up there, look, just I suppose acknowledging the ball. It could have been lower, it needed to be lower for Ronan to have a chance to win it. His brother's had a fair year this year now with Dublin as well, has really covered serious ground and improved a lot. Like there was times where his shooting and stuff needed, but he's had a fine year, and Crokes will need that engine in the middle to start purring, because so far Lucan seemed to be a little bit on top in around that area.
It's great defensive work from the Crokes, dealing admirably with the long high puck out and sending it back down towards Hayes once more. He tried to thread through the pass, but great defensive work from Rigney. Walsh makes 30 metres and hasn't given up yet. Walsh off the left. Oh, that's a really fine strike of the sliotar. He did all the donkey work himself in terms of creating the opportunity, and when your midfielder is firing like that, you've always got a chance. Draw match again.
Yeah, and I think, like I said just before that, I think Lucan are on top in around the middle. The one thing I'd say is, like, again, based on the first game that we saw, there is that breeze going down there. For anybody at home, it looks like a lovely summer's day, but there's a fair breeze in here now at the minute. A little bit of off the ball stuff here now as well, which it's harmless enough. Lads need to get on with it now and grow up and kind of move away from that.
Ronan Smith and Matt McCaffrey in the thick of it for Sarsfields. Smith was done for a push as the sliotar made its way to Matt McCaffrey, and he was caught red-handed essentially with his hand in the cookie jar, and a little bit of frustration there, I believe. 11 minutes old now, this contest, and it's shaping up to be a decent affair. I suppose Charlie Carter in his second season in charge in Lucan, there's pressure there given that they're down at the foot of the table.
Yeah, there is, and like Lucan would have an expectancy, and deservedly so, to be competing at the top end. They've been in semi-finals for a number of years. Even when I was at Ballyboden in 18, they were still pushing at that level. They haven't really, garnered that sense of getting back to a county final and winning it. And there's some great lads there, like some really quality players. And I suppose they're looking to Charlie now for inspiration to drive this thing on, but their year so far hasn't been as positive as I would have envisaged from the start. And look, here's a great man on the ball now, like he's well able to take it, and he's a leader there, and him being back from Australia is a big lift to him.
That's Chris Crummey, none other than the mighty Crummey sibling. He's still involved in it. This is good. Jack Behan takes up the work and takes up the running, and from just under the stand, way out the park, fires over a worldie of a point to cancel out Oisín O'Rourke's free just moments ago, and it's real nip and tuck stuff.
Yeah, it all came from Crummey's ability to win the ball there and just pop it out, and you can actually see it from a coaching point of view. He pointed at him as well, go at it now and put the ball over the bar. So there's a bit of leadership coming in there again. And look, this game might potentially mean more to Lucan possibly than it does to Kilmacud, but both teams seem to be up for it. There's a step up now in what we've seen so far based on the previous game too, but Kilmacud just a bit quiet for my liking. There's, they are missing a couple of players but there just seems to be just going, they're not as noisy as they normally are, and maybe the likes of Fergal now will drive the thing on, and Oisín that too, because they just seem to be going through the motions at the minute.
Charlie Kerr's touch lets him down there, and it's resulted in a sideline cut. Cian Ryan did well. Pádraig Linehan sending a very high one in, and trying to take it at chest height was corner forward Ronan Hayes. It spilled away from him, and Lucan get out of jail.
Yeah, good defending. Shawnee in goal now as well. He'll have like an arrow type. You'll see it. Yeah, and again, like they need to win this ball in the half. They're not winning enough ball in the half forward line at the moment. Crokes are definitely on top there, but A lot of physical hits off the ball too. I think Damien's right there, that's a good call.
Charlie Kerr had, having taken up a great position and intercepted, then lost it, but his club get the benefit of the referees. Were there ever to have been any doubt, it's a free in from 50 odd metres, which Ben Coffey fancies a crack at. His early sideline cut, a thing of real beauty. He almost replicated it some minutes later, but you expect that from this sort of range, the centre half forward is going to deliver the goods all day long. Takes a moment or two. And Coffey's on the mark. Beautiful effort right over the black spot. And Lucan hit the front.
Yeah, Lucan hit the front. Good score by Ben. Handy enough free there now, in fairness. Again, you can see Eddie, we spoke earlier on about Al Nolan and Sean Brennan. Eddie Gibbons is very good as well, laser-like with his puckouts, and a really good run there off the shoulder from young Conal O'Rian.
It's good defending from the Lucan men, but they've managed to make a catastrophic error, and it allows Kilmacud an opportunity, but again, well read by Matt McCaffrey.
Overdoing it inside. Like, they had an opportunity and chance there probably to run at it, and this kind of flicky, fancy pass over the top, they'll know themselves. Like, again, like that needs to, that has to be more decisive to hand, and Oisin won't tank him. You can see it. Like, well,
he wasn't playing to a player in a better position.
No, he wasn't.
Micheál Rourke was in a more frontal position.
Just go more direct at it, and like we spoke earlier on about the ability of your own forwards to win their own ball. Like those Crokes lads that are inside there, Ronan Hayes, Michael Roach, well capable of taking the man on themselves.
He was trying to thread it through the eye of a needle as well, but Oisin O'Rourke has managed to salvage something from the potential wreckage, and time matters up at the quarter hour mark. 6 points apiece. Cal Stritch with a huge ball down, but that's
really like
beautifully done. Beautifully done by Brendan Kenny. Made it look easy, very athletic, coming on to the ball. And now Fergal Whiteley. He's some distance off with that one.
Yeah, he just didn't bring it back in. That's not like Fergal either, but just to see Brendan when he comes out with the ball, they're probably got a bit of a head-high challenge there as well. I thought it was probably missed, but he just oozes that sense of athleticism and pace and speed. Like, so he's definitely an exciting one for going forward with Crokes.
He has the look of a man that would be comfortable in numerous different sports, be it running. He might well have found something in Paris to keep him busy over the course of the last 6 weeks. Was it push in the back, or did the player
I don't
stumble?
think so. I think
No, he stumbled.
A calamity of errors, to be honest with you. Yeah.
That's a free. He's well up with the play in this case, as Roach goes to ground.
You see the run out here now to the side as well. It's smart. Just on the left hand side, Cian Ryan has come out.
Yeah, he's a busy corner back, full of running. He's ignored though. He might feel a bit hurt if nothing comes from this particular attack. And Lucan's solid enough at the back, in fairness. Stritch, Rigney and Walsh all sticking to their tasks. Beautiful pick up from Hayes. Oh, wonderful hook. Rigney got just between his stick and the slit there as he was about, and I think he had a goal on his mind even from the angle.
Yeah, he did. Great defending, like really bodies on the line stuff. Like, but when they're coming out here now that this is where they need a little bit of work. That's just
awful.
Thrown away. Like after all the hardship inside, and you just throw the ball back inside in.
For Brian Hayes to spray it over to Purcell. Purcell's handling or stick work has let him down for once, and that's really good from Kevin Fitzgerald. He's put in a good opening quarter hour now. He's thrown the hurl away of his opponent, and Brian Sheehy's absolutely furious. They're going at it off camera as that one's sent in by Ben Coffey and over the bar from Coffey.
Yeah.
But while that was going on, the two lads were having a right good set too. The linesman is going to come in,
you should hope
and
that
I know you're going to
one.
tell me, Joe Fortune, that there was nothing in it. Let them at it.
No, I would say I don't think I was going to say that at all. I just hope he allows the score. Like again, you go, it's confrontation, it's big, it's heavy hits in here as well.
It was the throwing away the hurl.
The hurl annoyed him, yeah, and she's a footballer as well, and the footballers can be a bit temperamental, but like, look, it's you'd expect that in Championship. I don't think there was anything major in it, to be honest. I think they'll get a bit of a warning.
I don't think he can disallow the point. Well, he can, of course, as it was if he chooses to give a free out in the centre of the park. He's speaking to Hayes, rather, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's young Sheehy that he's talking to now. Hayes is inside the square.
Full back, Brian Sheehy, as Joe pointed out, has picked up a few footballing honours in the course of his career as well. He's a big, strong man.
Big boy, yeah. He's
batting down the puck out. I noticed him coming in under McClellan's puck outs as well to try and give the Crokes a counter attack.
It's just interesting that he's normally like just sitting at 3, They brought him out further out the field. I think he's better at 5 or 7 in around that area, because I think, he's a young guy too, very athletic, very strong, but I think he could be exposed inside. Kilmacud seems to be sitting as the spare man in between 3 and 6. And look, this Kilmacud, in fairness to them, the team that they've had there over the last 4 or 5 years, since Kieran has been involved, they've been an excellent group. I just question at times, do they know really who the best 15 are, because they're such a talented bunch.
The Lucan man potentially fortunate enough there. He just didn't throw his opponent's hurl as far away as... It was 1 yellow card by my reckoning for Brian Sheehy.
That's a killer though. Like, the ball went over the bar, it comes back out the field in, and then that free is hit in. There's your clip during the week for him now. That's a terrible decision just from a freeze point of view, even though it's a
fine point it was from Coffey, but
yeah.
it wasn't a point, obviously. A fine strike at goal, technically it will be deemed as.
Bit of bite to this now was great, and a bit of noise from the side over there.
But if the card was being given to Brian Sheehy, you'd wonder why Lucan had to pay the price of losing the point. They were punished on the double, essentially. Here goes Linehan. He's caught that really well, but not
wide.
Well enough in terms of accuracy. Another big, powerful defender. Kilmacud seem to be blessed with them. Strong ball-winning players, and that makes McClellan's task from the restart all the more difficult to avoid them. He hasn't. Linehan's got it. Whiteley. To Linehan.
He's smart every time. He's brave as well to win that ball.
O'Rian goes for this from way out the park, and he's got it. Really good score from Conal O'Rian. And from a position moments ago where we thought Lucan led 7-6, they now actually trail 7-6.
Yeah, and there's a lot of off the ball holding, as you said earlier on, they're getting to know how strong those jerseys are. You can see it up here in the half back line.
Entertaining fare for the crowd that have come here, the modest crowd at that.
That's great defending again. You look inside and you just see him every time. Brendan Kenny is on the back of every single little breaking ball inside.
And here is wing half forward Conal O'Rian with his confidence up after that last effort. This one dropped short. Paul Rigney.
I'm just thinking that sun there, is that what's causing Shawnee to go with the hurl rather than his hand? Is that sun starting to drop there now maybe and putting the sun in his eyes? Because normally that's a ball that McLennan would have in his hand every day of the week.
Could well be. Will he tell us afterwards? Probably not. You're not permitted to wear a baseball cap under the helmet. It would be an unusual fashion statement, but certainly it's bothering the keeper by all accounts. It would appear to be from our vantage point here.
Yeah, well, and that's really good by Lucan. Not only did they put the tackle in and force the man back, but they reminded the referee as well that he's taken about 5 or 6 steps at that stage, and that they are that loud, in-your-face, aggressive team, and really good by Matt McCaffrey, who sat back here as well and didn't allow that pocket of space to develop for Kilmacud.
Well, now Ben Coffey has a huge opportunity to add to his earlier sideline cut and wonderful free. His effort from play, as we've pointed out, was ruled out for an incident out in the centre of the field. The centre half forward, just inside the 45. No. He's missed it. Well, Ben Coffey, things going a little bit off script for him at the moment. He's started ever so well.
He'll see himself though as well. That kind of a strike, you're giving the ball a chance and an opportunity to go to. His consistency of striking is far better than that. There's a good take now, just inside for Kilmacud.
It's Roach. And Roach swivelling on to the left-hand side, but didn't look comfortable from the moment he struck it.
No, there's 60 seconds of what you spoke to me about earlier on. There's that 60 seconds of poor decision making, poor free taking, a poor shot inside, and both these teams will realise that as aggressive as it is and as physical as it around the middle, there's some poor decisions so far here as well from both teams.
And Conal O'Rian has brought Luke Walsh tumbling to the ground, and I think the referee is about to address that issue now.
He's given an advantage. Didn't see his hand, but he's probably looking to the linesman here as well for a bit of direction about what happened.
It looked like a trip, but how significant, how the contact was or not, I don't know. But certainly Walsh, who's begun this game very tigerishly at cornerback, did go to ground, and the referee is going to speak to Conal O'Rian. Brian Sheehy's already picked up a yellow card for that hurl throwing incident, and it now looks as if Conal O'Rian's going to be disciplined for taking down the Lucan Sarsfields cornerback. Luke Walsh, and it is indeed a yellow. And as we saw in the first game, when Ronan McLaughlin and Jonathan McGurk both left the field for double yellow cards, these early cautions can be costly, Joe.
Yeah, 22 minutes in, like you're kind of minding your back now for the next while in what is going to be a physical encounter, no matter what happens in the second half. It's a big free here now as well, I think, for Ben. Like, you know, he needs to settle down here now and strike this ball well, and give himself an opportunity and chance to put Lucan, back in a level game.
Monstrous distance.
Hit that well.
He has caught it really well. Has he the accuracy? Yes, is the answer. A 3rd point for the centre half forward. A great one at that. And that will do Charlie Carter and his backroom team a power of good.
Kilmacud are very good at this. I'm just nearly did apply it, but they're very good at working the ball out. And Lucan are working really hard up top to not allow that small puck out. But again, they have capability here now. If they turns the man, like, they really are a great goal getting team as well.
Roach it is this time, and yeah, he may have been off the mark earlier, but Roach makes amends. That's lovely stuff from Micheál Roach inside, and he has got his first of the afternoon in a real nip and tuck affair. Crokes back in front by a single point.
Yeah, and you can see Fergal White. We haven't seen much of Fergal yet, but he's been man marked there now by Chris Crummy, and maybe that's what's doing it. They're leaving the small little holes there at the moment and allowing the likes of Roach to pop into. But you can see Chris all the time talking to the players outside him, and here's the bro now.
Here goes Paul Crummy making the angle, but great covering defence and disciplined at that from a combination of Lucy and Cian McGowan. Really well done by the Kilmacud cover. And they drive it forward, looking for Conal O'Rian.
Oh, that's super.
He picked up the yellow moments ago, and minus the hurl, still manages to win the free. Sublime stuff from Conal O'Rian.
Yeah, some bit of skill there as well. And he was going at it as well. He wasn't complaining. One thing I love about a forward as well, when you see this, there's no sense of complaining. Like, they're getting fair hardship in there now at the minute, but there's no moaning and whatever else. They have such a pick, I keep saying it all the time, they have such a pick of quality players, Kilmacud, and they've some really, really good players coming through as well. We saw that at minor this year as well. You know, they've young Flannery, they've some really, really good players coming in, so it's a club that are definitely on the upward trajectory in regards to hurling.
Real class from Conal O'Rian to flick the sliotar toe to hand in the manner in which he did. Well, it was absolutely beautiful to watch. Here's Oisín O'Rourke from the ensuing free, won by O'Rian. He's converted 3 this afternoon, has 1 from open play as well. Is this to be a 5th point for the centre half forward? It looks good from our vantage point. Yep. It is indeed good. And Crokes double their advantage, 9 points to 7 now as we move into the last 5 minutes of normal time at the end of this half.
Yeah, Ronan Smith doing a fair job there now in the middle field now on Brian Hayes. We haven't seen Brian Hayes that much yet, and when Brian gets the engine up, as we've seen with Dublin this year, like, he can cover serious ground. Change coming in for Lucan, but you know, Rollo is starting really, really tight on young Hayes. So Kilmacud just seem to have that little bit more up front and class about him at the minute, but Lucan, he's caught for this, but Lucan are fighting like dogs as well.
Well, Cathal Stritch's afternoon has come to an end. He makes way for Shane Coffey. But, you talked earlier about Ronan Smith. Physically, he's a very powerful upper body, able to handle himself in the white heat of battle. Kilmacud, the score's coming just that little bit easier, leading by 2 at the moment, and you'd put your house on it to be 3 once Oisín O'Rourke is done with this free.
For any teams watching Crokes, still notice as well that their front 6, they don't stay, like, you know, one minute Hayes is at 14, then he's out at 11, you know, Oisín's at 11, then he's back in at 13. So if you're looking at playing against Kilmacud, you have to realise there's no static sense to any of their forward movement at all. It's constant movement all the time. Good score.
This point number 6, Oisín O'Rourke. Well, he doesn't miss. He's really striking well this afternoon. As McClelland gets things underway, or does he? The referee, has he?
Lucan won't be happy though, because they'd set that spine puck out up there, and Shawnee had seen the man, you know, run off to the left hand side, and saw Kevin Fitz make the run, and just the referee called it back. So
for what? To what end? Oh, he's getting communication from his umpire, I think, that one of the Lucan attackers has done something off the ball. Or is that big Ronan Smith that's coming out? He's going to have a word. And that's why Shawnee McClelland's puck out wasn't allowed to continue. And it is indeed Ronan Smith. We just talked about
a lot there. No, in fairness, he's given him a bit of. He's constantly at him. That's the politest way to put it. But look, you'd expect that more. Rollo's a good man marker, but
he got value for money for that yellow card, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Paul Rigney,
great take.
This is good. Luke Walsh in the thick of it as well. Got to get out to the centre and they've run out of pitch. The linesman's flag has gone up and furious objections from Lucan Sarsfields, but the linesman was very well positioned and I don't think he would have made that call unless he was sure of his lines. It'll be a Kilmacud ball.
Yeah, it's contentious over there on the far side now as well, and you know the Lucan players are not happy with that decision at all. Gives Kilmacud another chance to get out here now, and look, they're in a 10-7 lead at the moment without even after really raising a gallop yet. You can see Chris at all times trying to keep a close eye on Whiteley, because Whiteley can have 4 or 5 points over the bar before you blink.
He's got to score this afternoon, it suggests that a very effective job is being done by Crummy. Will he explode to life? Time will tell. Oh, great pace from Purcell, but even better from Colin Walsh to keep him off the ball. Luke Walsh doesn't get a clean strike on that one, and it's going to come back out from Cian McGowan.
Tried to do the right thing, just ran out of ground really. Oisin made a great run out to the left, and Cian did the right thing rather than just bombing the ball down. But I don't think they're getting enough out of Ronan Hayes at the minute. I don't think they're using him enough. A lot of ball went in earlier on, but since he's come out to 11, we haven't really seen him that much. And
he had a really busy opening quarter, as you say, but since then has been relatively peripheral. Here's Charlie Kerr, good point early on, but Oisin O'Rourke picks his pocket. Here goes Hayes. Makes 30 metres, still going. Oh, clever layoff, just a little bit high for Brian Hayes. And with that, the chance goes a-begging. There are the fine margins.
Great play by Crummy though, coming out with the ball there. But the brother won't thank him for that pass. You'd be sitting at the dinner table this evening, kind of saying to him, put it into my hand now rather than over my head. But again, Crummy came out really strong. He needs a bit of help though around the middle. I think now Crokes are back on top and around the middle.
Big effort in from the wing, but it's safely mopped up by Shawnee McClelland. Crokes ahead by 3 as we move in to the last 30 seconds of normal time at the end of this first half. Group 1, round 4, coming live to you on Dubs TV from Parnell Park in the company of myself, Sean Perry, and Joe Fortune on analysis. Crummy, Chris this time, barging forward. Don't think he would have coughed up the sliotar without being fouled. He would have died rather than give it away, but the referee doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt, and that's very athletic from Brian Hayes. Even better from Luke Walsh. Really strong from Brendan Kenny, holding up the Lucan runner. The referee's giving a free
advantage,
in.
Yeah, a free in. Lucan will be happy with the fight, that in-your-face aggressiveness that they're bringing to it. They'll be disappointed, I think, with some of the shot selection at times. I think Chris was fouled on the way through that time. He should have got a free. It just seems to me Kilmacud, they're 3 points up, but they're just tottering along. They're not really going at it yet.
But they're within
which
reach.
Is worrying.
They can be reeled in. A big goal
absolutely,
or a
100%.
big incident could turn this for Lucan.
And like we said earlier on, it's a huge game for Lucan. Today is a massive game for Lucan. They need to try and get something out of the last 2 games. And we spoke about the Charlie Carter effect. The thing that's sticking out to me at the moment is you asked me the question in the first half: is there anybody really putting their hand up here now at the minute? That's not in the norm, not outside the Crummies and the Whiteleys and the Hayes. Is there somebody really putting up, maybe Young Coffey, but other than that, we haven't really seen anything new yet today from any player that's not involved already in a Dublin capacity.
And Coffey's missed the target there. He had an opportunity to bring it back to just 2 points at the interval, but crucially, as the referee Damien Burnett sounds the half-time whistle, 2 points separate the sides. 3 points rather separate the sides. It's Kilmacud in the ascendancy after a very entertaining opening half hour here in Parnell Park. Half-time scoreboard reading: Kilmacud Crokes 10 points, Lucan Sarsfields 7.
StayCity Apart Hotels. Half apartment, half hotel. Warm beds, comfy sofas, and fully equipped kitchens. We offer guests more, so you can do more. Cook, sleep, work, play. Welcoming, accommodating, and big beds for jumping. Smart travellers choose StayCity because StayCity is the smart choice. StayCity, half apartment, half hotel, all across Europe. Save 10% every time you book at staycity.com.
We're delighted to extend the partnership with Go Ahead Ireland. They're an organisation that serves communities all over Dublin and helps serve our club members around the county, and it's been a brilliant partnership for the last 3 years, and we're delighted to extend for a further 2 years.
Like us, Dublin GAA are embedded in their community, so it was a really natural fit. For us, it was important to find a partner that was inclusive, but also had that community identity, and that's exactly what we found in Dublin GAA. Since we started the partnership, they've been really easy to work with, and we're really excited to continue the journey together.
In those 3 years, we actually accomplished a lot with Dublin GAA. We were privileged to be able to work with both local and national charities with them, as well as working on several GAA initiatives.
This partnership allows us to support Club League and Championship with initiatives such as our Dubs TV live streaming platform. We try and stream as many games as possible, particularly during the Championship season where we can from a logistical point of view around grounds, and that is something we will continue to try and deliver over the coming years and keep enhancing Club Championship product and club leagues around the county across all 4 codes.
In the coming months, we're going to be continuing growing our services. And while we do that, that means that we'll be serving more GAA community clubs than ever before.
This year alone, we're going to be introducing the Development Fund for Accessibility as part of our partnership, which is going to see core infrastructure at Dublin GAA developed. In the summer, we're also introducing the Go Ahead Ireland Dublin LGFA Summer Skills Camps, which will be held in July and August.
As Dublin's best performing public bus operator, we're going to continue to work really hard on delivering for our customers and our communities.
One of my favourite places to grab a coffee in Dublin is Bua. It's one of these kind of COVID coffee trucks that popped up, and it's kind of developed into this bit of a social hub. I'll always find myself being drawn back to social fabric. It's just a beautiful place to go. They always have consistently good food there. Bar 1661. So I love watching them make the cocktails, shake it up, garnish it, serve it. Hoth village itself is a lovely little kind of seaside town. The Gravity Bar up on the top floor of the storehouse, and it's just an amazing place, an amazing view of Dublin City. Definitely visit Temple Bar and take in what's there. My advice would be just try your best to see other parts of the city. Brian Fenton, this is my Dublin.
It has to be Tang on Abbey Street. You can't beat their flatbreads with the chickpeas and spicy chicken. It's Irish owned, great food, great people. Shoe Lane beside Tara Street train station. It was close to Trinity where I went to college. They have nice croissants, fruit scones. If you're ever looking for a quiet place to go and chat with your mates, the Snug and Chaplin's has to be the go-to. Lovely old interior. Just have to get the dart out to Vico Baths, bring the swimming togs, go for a dip, and you get a lovely view of Killiney Bay. The Epic Museum, I think it's something nice to just figure out the history of the city. You have to go and visit a GAA or hurling or camogie game. It's the most amazing atmosphere. It's going to be an unforgettable experience. Cian O'Sullivan, this is my Dublin.
Tribeca in Ranelagh. I had to go with my family, it's a favourite of ours. Definitely recommend trying their wings. The Metro Cafe, it's a great spot for people watching, especially when it's sunny outside. An oat milk cappuccino would be my go-to. The atmosphere in Devitt is always brilliant. We've had plenty of team nights out there, always great crack. The Timber Trove Cafe in the Dublin Mountains, it's a really cosy family-run cafe. Family House would definitely be a must visit. They have monthly markets on which are gorgeous. I would advise you to walk around the city because most of the main attractions are close by and you can get there quicker on foot. Niamh Gannon, this is my Dublin.
Kyo's Cafe in Portobello. I really like going back just for the vibe. It's nice and chill. People are really cool. Trails Cafe in Ticknock. The coffee is really, really good. Americano, small bit of milk, and you're good to go and hit the trails. Blue Light is always a nice roaring fire. We tend to go up after All Ireland final week. It's a really nice place to be. I'd recommend getting out to Poolbeg Lighthouse. It's a great walk out. You get a great view back of the city. If you get the chance, I'd go up to Ticknock, go up and rent a mountain bike. Trails up there are pretty cool. Bring a raincoat, a shower's never too far away. Orla Nolan, this is my Dublin.
We met down at Fairview. And Kieran's brother was a friend of my brother's. We met through them, so when I was coming up to the Devs, I invited Kieran to my Devs. He asked me to marry him, and I said yes, so long as our firstborn child played for Vincent's. And he said, okay, grand. It's great to have our family involved as well. I suppose if the kids weren't as interested in it as we were, it'd be very tough on us.
Kieran's are playing Vincent's. The tension in the house is gas. Mum is obviously Vincent's and Dad is Kieran's, so Mum always claims that she'll give John steak for dinner and she won't feed Kevin. But it's always a bit of a laugh, but I suppose no one takes it too seriously.
She had her hands full. She could have got the job as a bus driver. The amount of dropping off and picking up she did from matches around. Leaving some matches early to go to another match to make sure she got the end of that, or make sure we all got the same amount of attention. There was no favourites.
It means everything. I don't know what we do without it, to be fair. We eat, drink and sleep it.
It's always through the family like the rest of us. There's not enough spoken words, I'd say.
I know my whole life at this rate.
We're very proud parents. That's a huge achievement to have 100% of your family still playing. And we're proud of them all, every one of them.
My name is Niamh Heatherton.
My name is John Heatherton. I'm Kieran Heatherton.
I'm Patsy Heatherton, and as a family,
our roots are set in the GAA.
Ground Force probably is the absolute heart of this club, both in their ethos, the amount of work they do, and just the pure love they have for Naomh Marnoga and the GAA in general. In simplest terms, we probably couldn't function without Ground Force.
I suppose the GAA was always a bit more than hitting the ball or hitting the schlitter, you know, and it gave a great sense of community to people.
I suppose at my age, fear of retirement, worried about the unknown, what am I going into a home under my wife's feet all the time or something like that, and then we just got this men's initiative started off. We feel that we're giving something back to the club that gave so much to us. We come up here on a rotary basis and line pitches, cut grass. It kind of empowers us as well if we feel valued.
We're all friends, we're all retired, we're all around the same age group. Some of us have nothing outside of our work, and Ground Force has been a big change for everybody from the mental well-being point of view. It's really, really important and really significant, and there is great camaraderie amongst the group.
So I think there's about 30 odd men in this initiative that comes up to the club and has a chat. And the coffee is important as well. We sort out the world, Dad.
Yeah. Or well, most of it.
Yeah.
That's what it means to me, just achievement and pride.
My first memory of GAA would probably have been in Croke Park with my father. That would be in the early 1950s.
As a young lad, brought down to watch one of my brother's matches.
Playing under 10 hurling, and I say hurling, not camogie, because I played on the boys' team.
My feeling about the GAA was more a social one than a games one, because I thought it was a great way for all the kids to get to know each other.
Mum and Dad always brought us up to have each other's backs. We'd all go to each other's matches. No matter what we were doing or playing, we'd all support each other. I'm playing for the club 37 years, I think, now, but I also coach my two daughters' teams.
It's great. It really is a great feeling to have the kids down there. And now all of their friends are beginning to come from the same community and the same focus on the club, so it's a mirror of what happened to me in my childhood, I suppose.
We made more friends down the years and had more fun down the years than ever we would anywhere else.
Mum fostered that through us as well. She was chief bottle washer. She'd have jerseys upon jerseys out in the line. 3 of my offspring are married, and they met their better halves through the club.
The friends and relationships I got out of it. Looking back, that was really what the GAA was about. Community, about building relationships with people. My name is Mick Galvin.
My name is Mary Galvin.
My name is Phil Galvin, and my family roots are in St. Bridget's GAA Club.
Welcome back to Parnell Park. The half-time score reading: Kilmacud Crokes 10 points, Lucan Sarsfields 7 points. Tight and tense opening 30. A couple of goal chances coming early for Lucan Sarsfields, and I'm sure the Kieran Dowling one is one that will eat them for some time if things don't go their way this evening, Joe Fortune, because he had such a wonderful chance. A couple of minutes later, Ben Coffey denied by Eddie Gibbons, but certainly they've given Kilmacud something to think about at the turnaround.
And nothing that I wouldn't have expected, the talented player that they have there. But yeah, Dowser will kind of, he had that really early chance, won the ball inside and just didn't take it. But I'd expect a serious fight now here from Lucan. They have to get something out of this now, because if not, they're going to be under pressure going into that last game with Coola having put up a big score. Here's Hayes now, and he'll cover ground big time.
He's just done 40 metres. He's brought himself into a really fine position, unselfishly giving it off to O'Rourke, who fires at the target. What a save from Shawnee McClelland. Well, you could argue that Hayes might well have taken on his own score. He gave it across, but ultimately, well, a wonderful save from the very experienced Shawnee McClelland, denying the Kilmacud men what would have been a disastrous opening to the new half for Lucan Sarsfield. Score remains 10-7.
Yeah, and Chris came out there. You'd want Paul to win that ball. Dowser has it now, so he should put that over the bar.
He seemed slightly off balance. He was snatching at it as he pucked goalward, and that was a really, really good chance. Here we see once more, ball laid off to O'Rourke. Did everything right in terms of keeping it low, but that's as fine a save as you'll see after Hayes had done so much right. You were making the point in the first half about sometimes taking on your own score, and we did an example of it with Micheál Roach in the first half. As it was, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but maybe Hayes
away here now.
Yeah. This is good. It's not Brian this time, it's Ronan. He's well held up though. That's strong defending from the Lucan men, and they really are. They mightn't have the abundance of riches, metaphorically speaking, that Kilmacud do, but they're staying in this game and very much on merit with the Crummy brothers and others. This man, Kevin Fitzgerald, his jersey
has been brought back.
pulled,
He's been brought back. Good call, I think, by Damien there. But just even go back to that idea of your own inside forward. Ronan knows himself. He had a man in front of him there. He has to be stronger on that direct running in towards goal. Like, if he gets an opportunity and a chance when he's inside, he can take it. But he just needs to work that little bit harder at that game of taking the man on, because he is capable of it.
Decent match for the small crowd that have come here to Parnell Park this evening.
Yeah, we spoke about the small crowd earlier on, and at times it is something that goes. One thing that does stick out is that you have to remember as well, from a club perspective, the amount of games that are on the same day. Like the likes of Crokes Senior Bs are playing today. They're intermediates, they're under 16s, they're under 16 Bs, they're 14s, A, Bs and Cs are all playing from 3 o'clock onwards today. So it is a lot to ask of a club supporter too. So we have to take that into account, that there is so many games going on at the same time in Dublin, and possibly something that we need to look at.
By location isn't a skill that comes easy to very many, as Brendan Kenny had made a hair-like run through the heart of the Lucan defence, but nothing came of it, as this one is driven in by Conal O'Rian as he found the range. Yeah, he used the wind very cleverly there as well. Nice strike. He picked up a yellow card in the first half, but Conal O'Rian is starting to hum at the moment, and it's the first time that there's been 4 points between the sides. Crokes obviously to the good.
Yeah, and if Crokes get 1 or 2 more, Lucan will be worried. Like, they don't need this to happen now, and you can see the Lucan lads, Chris, and that driving the thing on down there now. But they need to be winning that dirty ball on the ground, and I still think Crokes are only in second gear here. They're not really motoring yet, and they'll know that themselves. But Lucan need more out of inside. This fella as well now is capable if he goes at it.
Ben Coffey spraying the pass across, having missed his last free, and it was a half-hearted effort really from Kieran Dowling. He hit the one in the first 30 seconds with real fizz, but that one was never ever troubling Eddie Gibbons, and hopped relatively tamely into the side netting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Distance on the puck out. Trying to get onto it was Roach. It's going to come back out to Conal O'Rian. He's pulled. Referee doesn't indicate anything for him, but he's managed to work his own score, and he's got the 2 Kilmacud points in the second half, and that's a really sweet effort. A tally now of 3 from open play, and he's starting to really become a force in this game after a great old battle between Hayes, Roach and the Lucan cover on the original puck out.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think some of that came from Ronan, that aerial ability that he has. Ronan has had some significant injuries over the last year or so as well. Like, I was here the night of the county final where it needed him to bring that bit of magic back to take the title away from the Fina. So look, again, while you can be hard at times, you see the potential that the likes of Ronan has, but 3 great scores today from O'Rian, 1 super one in the first half and 2 very good scores now. They're very solid at the back. without being without being overly good, they're just solid at the back, and the Lucan inside forward line, apart from Dowser, who's shown a bit every now and again, we haven't seen Paul Crummy a lot at all today, which is very, very surprising.
But as you pointed out, they work the ball across the field laterally before an opening presents itself. It's hours upon hours upon hours on the training field that hones that makes sure that the risk is almost eliminated, and it's coming off to really good effect in this Group 1 Round 4 go-ahead Dublin Senior Hurling Championship encounter this afternoon. On the ball is Kieran Dowling, still on the ball, having a right old tussle, giving it to Coffey. What can he do? He goes for the goal, but it's blocked down.
Free.
And it was a free shot essentially, in that he had won a free in the passage of play leading up to it. Possibly right to take on the shot, but the Crokes defence is mean. They're not going to give up anything easily, and this, I guess...
Yeah, they've really clamped down on Paul Crummy. Like, Paul Crummy is obviously playing senior intercounty with Dublin as well, and we haven't seen too much of him today. And young Lucy, who seems to be picking him up, and Sheehy at times as well, they're sticking really, really tight to him, and they're not getting what Lucan would want. And I'm sure Charlie has mentioned it at half time. Like, they're 5 points down here, probably bring it back to 4 here now with this free, but they need something out of it today realistically. And if they don't, they're going in with pressure in the last day against Nafeen, I think.
Charlie Kerr inside as well, although he's drifting out the park a bit to try and get involved in play as Coffey steps up from the free. Never going to make a mistake with that. His 4th of the afternoon. On the flip side, Oisín O'Rourke has been really accurate for Kilmacud with 5 points, 4 from frees. His brother, incidentally, Barry O'Rourke, was a Leinster Championship minor winning captain, was it, or 20s for you?
No, minor captain in 07. Went on to play under 21 then as well, but was the minor captain in 07 when Dublin beat Kilkenny in the Leinster final.
That one's sprayed down by Pádraig Linehan. Eager to take the sideline and get on with things is Brian Hayes. O'Rian again, he's been really busy in the opening stages of this second half, but crucially now 4 points between the sides as that one sent in, and the keeper did ever so well. That's really, really good work from Shawnee McClellan. Got up above his crossbar, batted it down, and he may have had difficulties with his setting sun in the first half, but he's turned that right around. Great ball to Crummy this time.
That's what he's capable of.
Yeah.
That's that's your score today of the 2 games. Paul Crummy's well able to do that. Great ball by Sean. He came out, broke out, put the hand up in the air, which was obviously a sign that you're going on top of here now, win your own ball, and that's a super score from Paul Crummy.
Maybe that'll be the catalyst for his evening to come to life. It's brought it back to a 3-point game. Cian McGowan now is taking up the man marking duties on him. David Lucy is also very close to him indeed, as that one is sent in by Hayes. A really good score. And it's his first of the evening, but he makes it look so easy. He's got pace to burn, and there is that little bit of extra momentum. They seem to inject pace a little bit more easily than Lucan do the Kilmacud guys.
Yeah, there's great pace around the middle for Kilmacud. Brian showed that this year, like huge pace, and young Purcell as well. He's been quiet today, Purcell, and he said, like, I really, really rate him highly, involved with the Dublin seniors this year as well in the earlier parts of the year, but he's somebody who has a really bright future. Just today, like, there's a real sense of aggressiveness for anybody who's not here. That's a free again, but there is a lot of aggression in this game on and off the ball, and you learn your trade very quickly around here now as a younger player.
But it's fair. I mean, it's well channeled aggression. There's nothing cheap or cowardly about any of the hits. It's good old fashioned manly club hurling, and both sides going at it hammer and tongs. 4 separate them. 8 minutes into the second half. Kilmacud Crokes 13 points, Lucan Sarsfields 9, and here's their marksman in chief, Ben Coffey, exactly halfway between the 45 and 65 as he prepares to launch a missile goalward. Steps into that nicely. He's let it drift. He did something similar in the first half.
I feel for him because he's trying really hard, isn't he? He's getting through a lot of, but it just, you can't miss. I said it to you earlier, to win the top, to get to the top, you really need a free taker who's efficient. This fella can be golden as well now, Whiteley, when he's on form, but Chris has done brilliantly on him all day. And
Whiteley pulls one out of the top drawer, his first point of the afternoon. The county man saving his best for the key moment, and one of the key moments in the contest, to put Lucan 5 points behind once more. But just going back to, I suppose, what happened earlier with Ben Coffey's free, his striking action, he seems to be dragging the ball from left to right rather than bringing it in the way, or is that a very simplistic analysis of it?
No, it's not. I think that his consistency of striking for me when he's looking at frees, if you're talking to the young lad, you're saying, like, you know, he's quite different nearly every time he strikes the ball from a free, and it's something that he has to look at to be more efficient, I think, going forward. But again, going back to just the efficiency of shooting, like John Bellew made him work really hard for that free for that score on the far side, and Lucan are trying really hard, but there's just nothing really up front. That super score by Paul Crummy, you know, Dowser has been in and out of it at times, but there's nothing else really in there at the moment that's causing a real sense of worry for Kilmacud.
Well, Crummy wants it, but he's not making the run to give the midfielder, which in this instance is Colin Walsh, an opportunity to shoot at him, because if Walsh sends one in, really it's kind of a ball to nothing, in that Lucy and McGowan have Crummy pretty much on a shoestring at the moment. It's working well for them. Here's Whiteley. Confidence is up after that last effort, but a great block on it.
It's poor though, again, like when you think about it, you know, it's not... Fergal will know that himself. There's a lot of plays in this that will be used by both managements, I'd imagine, going forward, standard wise, to look at what's acceptable and what's not. Like planting your 2 feet in the ground and hitting the ball. They'd both realise that there's areas there that they can improve on, definitely.
Well, at the moment, Kilmacud looking the more likely, of course, in terms of the group. They do sit in second place, Na Fianna ahead of them. Things going nicely for the Stillorgan outfit, but of course last season just making the quarter final, having been county champions the previous 2 years. There will be a sense of hurt from all of that, and no doubt the management team have focused hard on putting right what happened last year, that being Kieran Dowling and Donal McGovern in year 5 in charge now. Charlie Carter's in his second year with Lucan Sarsfields. Crummy's on the slither, offloading, and well, it broke very cleverly indeed, or very kindly for Colin Walsh. I don't think he could believe he got through, but he was pulled back and ultimately...
What? He can't give a penalty from outside, that doesn't...
Well, a moment of uncertainty here. Certainly he's calling across Bill O'Carroll, and what is the referee about to do? There was a foul committed on Colin Walsh in the thick of it there as well. Lucan had bodies up. A yellow card is flashed to Bill O'Carroll. Is the outcome to be a 20-metre free or thereabouts?
Yeah, it has to be. It can't be at this level. There's no, even though it was a goal scoring opportunity, there's no, that rule is
when you're outside the 20-metre line, it's yeah. So Ben Coffey with an opportunity to fire over number 5 on top of his sideline cut and 3 converted frees.
Or do you go for it? Do you think, like, you know, you've 20 minutes left, like you have to get something out of today?
5 bodies on the line, 5 bodies on the line. He does opt to blaze it over the bar. Well, is that sensible, or
it probably
is?
Yeah, it is. Like I remember when I had Ballyboden, you know, you could never tell Paul Ryan what to do because he was going to make his own mind up, but he always knew if there was a chink in the armour, he'd go for it. Probably what won Boden a county final in 18. But look, in fairness, it put it
so
over
what
the bar.
You're telling me here is that you favoured the player taking the decision themselves.
I love them going at it. I do. Yeah, I think, like, what have you got to lose today? If you lose today, Lucan are going to have to get a point against Na Fianna.
That's a wonderful tackle by John Bellew. Oh, he's been done for it.
I think it was a great tackle by Bellew, to be honest.
I thought he won the ball cleanly. Roach floated it in high. It was inviting a defender to come on to it, and that's just what he did. Okay, there was collateral damage in that Dara Purcell went crashing to the ground, but if he's giving a free from in there, this is penalty written all over it
does,
then.
I think that's a brilliant challenge, but again,
when the whistle has sounded, now, is he going to talk to his umpire and perhaps reverse the decision, or is he giving it can't be a free in from the 20-metre line, or is he throwing it up? He's throwing it in. I think he realises perhaps that call may have been a little harsh. Certainly a penalty against Lucan for
a good call.
Like
in fairness, like, as a referee, to turn around and throw the ball in, then, like, in fairness, it's nearly an admission. Look, I made a mistake. It's not good enough from their point of view, but you have to give character to the man as well to turn around and say,
true,
that's a serious score out from out the field.
That looks like our old friend Bill O'Carroll once more. He scored a beauty in the very early stages of this contest.
Here, though. He has to get across because there's a spare man that Shawnee will find, and in fairness, he does.
5 points now separate the sides. That's an arrow-like restart, and it's that man Bellew who was in the thick of the action moments ago. McCaffrey. Aerial duel inside. Coffey's in there trying to make something of a 50-50 ball at best. And with just over 16 minutes of normal time remaining, Lucan have got to do something. Clever footwork from
Feet.
Brian Hayes, yeah. Dancing feet, really good stuff. Wouldn't be out of place on a ballroom floor anywhere in the country. He's given it to the brother, Ronan. Ronan, wow. His radar slightly off.
Yeah, it has. You're right. It's actually a really good call because Brian had done really well, and just Ronan just getting back into it, I think, after, like I said, a couple of injuries. But like, he'll know himself that has to be better, like after a great run by Brian.
Here's Paul Crummy.
Paul has to go again now, though, because rather than he has to give him an option because he only has one other inside.
Static and, well, Coffey easily gobbled up, but in so doing, a combination in the thick of it was Pádraig Linehan. They fouled Coffey, and this a great chance for Lucan to get back to within 4. But Crummy just doesn't look up to the pitch of it in terms of fitness. He wasn't able to go for the return there. Didn't have it in the legs.
Yeah, maybe, and in fairness to him, like, you can see the hands are on the hips. Maybe he's carrying something small, but again, the heat of the day that's down there too. It's been a very warm day. That's probably an excuse from my point of view, but
it's got a bit colder now since the
first here anyway. But you just imagine, like, he put a pinpoint ball into his hand and just maybe going at it again to give him an option, because Lucan are playing so deep that there's only that one inside when they have Dowling in there, and he doesn't have any support with obviously 4 or 5 Kilmacud defenders around.
Yeah. Well, Ben Coffey now with a chance to hoist over point number 6. Ronan Hayes has just left the action for Kilmacud. We'll tell you who's come in just a moment, but Ben Coffey has done the necessary and converted for Lucan Sarsfields to make it a 4-point game once more. Well, it's, I suppose, easy to dictate who's not running and who is running from our commentary position when you're down there and fellas are knocking lumps out of you. It's not all that evident or easy. Brian Sheehy. He's on a yellow card. He's played a 1-2 with his keeper from the puck out. And, well, the prototype all-hurling keeper is very much the norm
brilliant by Bill
nowadays.
O'Carroll there to win that dirty ball at the side.
And he's put a scoring chance on a plate for none other than Brendan Kenny. But Kenny, well, it's not happening for him in the scoring stakes today. The Dublin under-20 player. Very much a bright one for the future, but he's had a few shots at the target now and none have landed.
But again, young player, you know, loads of energy, like real brave player, and if there's one thing he can improve his shooting, and that's something to look going forward. But I love the way Kilmacud moved the ball. In fairness to them, you know, that ball to hand, it's impressive. You know, the two lads were at it for 4 or 5 years with them as a management team as well.
Indeed,
and they're capable of more. I think there's so much more in them as a group.
Here will be one of those foundations of the future as Oisín O'Rourke opens the shoulders from way out.
Yep.
And he has landed a really beautiful point. It's his 7th of the afternoon and arguably one of his finest.
Yeah, patient, good ball to hand, good stick work again, you know, movement in around. They've nobody inside now. Hayes is gone. They've no real centre of attack, so it looks like nearly they're starting to consolidate a lead now, because they are very good at playing it around the middle, but I still think going forward that they're going to need that Hayes and Considine threat of a goal inside. We haven't really seen a goal chance today.
Yeah. He might be small in stature, Oisín O'Rourke, but by God, he has a Raider-like accuracy when it comes to converting chances. Here's the substitute, man in just moments ago. It's Alex Considine. And his first effort at the post isn't something that he'll be remembering with any great fondness. Physically huge, big man, of course, has the inter-county experience.
Look, I think any Dublin supporter will be delighted to see him back in there, because he has been absolutely plagued with injury for the last 12 months and more. I'd prefer to see him in around 14 or 13, 14, 15, because when he gets the ball inside, he's like Keane O'Sullivan in that way. Like, he just has nothing else except goal on his mind. But in fairness to him, he's back on the pitch again. Good to see him getting kind of 20 minutes under his belt now before Kilmacud go forward. We've seen to be an injury down here now as well, just on the left side, whether it's off the ball or just from the last play. But there seems to be a bit of a problem on the left here.
Micheál Roach, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you make the point about Considine. If when he sets off, you know, physically, he's got it in the locker. He's very, very hard to stop. He has that power and physical presence to make a real nuisance of himself, as Dara Purcell can't get that one up cleanly. Instead, Chris Crummy does. He's lost the hurl. Kerr shares it inside with Colm Walsh. Well, Colm Walsh, when he strikes well. That's his second, and it's a useful effort.
All came from Crummie's hard work as well, though. Dowling seems to be worried about one of the Crokes lads here now as well, so something must have happened here, but they've pushed Crummie up the field now rather than having him in a defensive role, because they realise now there's 3 or 4 points in it. You have a chance to win it, and Chris has showed at intercounty level that he can play in the forwards as well. Something happened here though.
Yeah, Dowling is overly concerned about the welfare of his opponent. It looks like it could be Dara Purcell, but one way or the other, Kieran Dowling, and with the referee speaking to his linesman, he's flashed a couple of yellow cards in the first half, and it's Kieran Dowling that if he's going to call anyone over, it looks like it will be Dowling, but Dowling's still inquiring as to the health of his opponent.
He seemed to get a bang to the head there now.
To be fair to Dowling, I don't think he did anything wrong, but he was sporting enough to ensure that medical attention came on, and hopefully everything is restored to full health and every individual very shortly. Still 4 points separating the sides. We move towards the last 10 minutes, and there's a cheer from the Kilmacud faithful because there's another change being sprung, and this time it's Davy Crowe who's about to taste action.
Yeah, for obviously people in Dublin will be delighted to see that now as well. Davy has, like, again, a lot of these younger players coming through for whatever reason, be it being they use too much or whatever it might be, burnout. So that a lot of these younger Crokes players that have been coming through have been blighted with injury, and the likes of, like Davy coming back in as well, and seeing young Constantine back on the pitch, it's huge. Purcell looks in serious bother here now. You don't like to see that. It's obviously something significant in his face or in his head, because that's not nice to see.
Obviously no stretcher around, because they're kind of the medical team, 3 of them carrying him in a kind of an unseemly way from the field. But Kieran Dowling, by the reaction he made, immediately wanted to see attention administered to poor old Dara Purcell, but Dara Purcell is gone. Davy Crowe is in, and Kilmacud restart, and on the ball is Cian Ryan. That's a good run. He's chased by Sean Harkness, the Lucan Sarsfields substitute. He switched wings with the Schlitter, but I don't think he got the desired outcome. Considine is fighting hard for it over there. Can't get it. McClellan to the rescue, and knows that there's loads of space for Shane Coffey to work in.
I think the son was playing a big impact here. We said it earlier on about Shawnee. Matt just normally would have that in his hand and get out the road, but the son, that dipping sun, is probably having an impact on players' ability to see it as well. All ahead of you on the road to Ballyshannon after this, so like you
I want to say Shawnee McClellan's at the other end of the park, so the sun must be following him around the world. But it's Lucan Sarsfields now. I've got to pull a rabbit out of a hat here, because we're inside the last 8 minutes, 16 points to 12, and on the balance of what we've seen, Joe, it doesn't look likely, but it's a very
still
manageable
think it's there
lead.
Yeah, it is, and I think they've pushed Chris up. I still think like there's 4 points in it. The sense of that real, I think the standard is not what it could be and should be, maybe at this level, but maybe, like we said, there's that safety net for some, but there's not there for Lucan. Lucan need to create a goal scoring chance here now. This is smart, but having Chris up there, that has to be a free. But again, having Chris up there now, will add to it. They just don't seem to be getting anything else inside from anybody except really Kieran Dowling, and he missed that chance, that glorious chance at the start of the game.
Could have impacted his confidence a bit as well. When you take something on like that early and it doesn't work out, he hasn't really been fired. He's just 1 point to show for 52 minutes of hurling.
Yeah, and in fairness, like if you look at the scoreboard in comparison to the first game, when you've Coola like putting a big score up, 16-12 is quite low scoring as well after 52 minutes of championship hurling also.
Well, here's Ben Coffey. He's the man who has been producing, albeit predominantly from placed balls. He goes at it, and this time gets the desired outcome.
Loads of time here, there's loads of time. Lucan don't need to panic, but they do need to push up here now, and having that extra man back won't work. They haven't got it now. They've pushed Chris up. They still have an extra man over here on the left hand side. I think you need to push John up the field now as well and really go for it.
Let's see what they do. Let's see what Charlie Carter and co call from the line, or if the players intuitively do it themselves on the field. There's a lot of them with big game experience. Bellew, the Crummies, Ronan Smith and co, that have the wherewithal and the tools to take this game by the scruff of the neck. But Kilmacud with that vast experience of winning championships and the like in recent seasons. A wily old fox they are. Here's substitute Considine, playing it cleverly and great vision to spot Bill O'Carroll, the wing back, who's got 2 points, but he overcooked the pass. And actually, from a position whereby Kilmacud should have been potentially scoring, they almost gave it away, but Conal O'Rian has other ideas and he gets back on the front
today,
foot.
no? Is it?
Four,
Definitely four,
yeah.
yeah, definitely four. Like his efficiency is good. He got a great one in the first half. That's 3 in the second. You still have to remember as well that like Lucan had a goal scoring chance down there that Crokes snuffed out, is the politest way I can put it. You know, that would have really put it back in the mix again. But Conal has got 4 great points today.
Absolutely, each one better than the one preceding it. Here go the Sarsfields once more. Sean Harkness trying to thread it through, but the distribution again,
It's just breaking down inside, isn't it?
Good bit short of what it needs to be, really, and there's no forgiveness in the White Heated Championship. Crummie's over there, falls awkwardly to the ground, and there's a bit of a ruck right in front of the Kilmacud dugout. Ronan Smith gets back to his feet. A line ball for Kilmacud, which Crow takes. Not a great distribution from Crow. And here's Dowling. Charges into the tackle, surely pulled back there by Brian Sheehy, who has to be careful, he's on a yellow card. And this could be the end of Brian Sheehy's afternoon. He picked up a yellow for throwing the hurl.
Good
so
spot,
if the referee applies the letter of the law here, like it looks as if he's going to Kilmacud down to 14 for the last 5 minutes. And could that be a defining moment in this game with 4 between them?
It's a big moment, whether it's defining or not. I suppose we'll see at the end. It is something I think he's probably a little bit harshly done by there, maybe a bit as well. The incident earlier on was more a coming together and the two boys going at each other, maybe off the ball a bit. But I still think there's an opportunity here for Lucan if they can really push on and push up here. Like in fairness, when a few minutes ago when young Harkness went through, there is space for them to be run into. But at the same time, they're going to need a goal. I think they're not going to have time possibly to get those 4 scores.
Well, that may have been what Ronan or what Brian Sheehy was thinking. He wasn't going to allow the overload and Lucan to get bodies forward to score that goal. They'll settle for a point instead. If Ben Coffey does what we expect, he will, and it's a 3-point game once more. Only time will tell whether Brian Sheehy was a mastermind in terms of his fouling strategy or whether he did something reckless and wrong.
Now, what do you do as a manager now? You're Lucan's manager, you're 3 points down, you're down a man. Do you need a spare defender or do you push them up now? Because if you don't get something out of this game, you have to get a point out of the Fina match next. And for me, like you're going to lose it anyway unless you push up. But there's an opportunity here now for it to push the likes of Bellew or Ronan Smith further forward.
Yeah. Well, this is perhaps the opportunity that Lucan Sarsfields need, but at the same time Kilmacud have that ability to tear them asunder at the other end as it's blazed in high by Jack Behan. What has he found? Coffey's there. 3 Lucan players up, but Kilmacud have loads of bodies back, and I don't think poor old Ben Coffey knew exactly what he was doing there. Caught between an effort for the top corner or firing it over the bar, and he's got absolutely nothing from it.
Yeah, and Dowser's out here now on the wing, 70 yards from goal. Again, I think you need him up front maybe with Ben, because down here he's in no man's land, really kind of running around after young Kenny.
And Kilmacud quite content to go through all the moves that they've practiced on the training field. They will eventually get it into attack, and up there Considine has fresh legs, but that's a great bit of defensive cover. Manful stuff it was too from Shane Coffey, but the Slither has got away from him. There's a right old tussle involving Shane Coffey. He's still in the middle of it down there, himself and Considine tearing lumps out of each other, but now McClelland has got a bang as well.
They're at it again over here now as well, but the two boys, but do you know who owns which hurl? Yeah, McClelland got a fair bang too, but
he did.
Alex on the other side, and that blew him the world of good as well, because he's missing so much hurling. You can train all you want and run up and down the sideline for tempo runs as much as you want, but that was fair defending by the Lucan young lad inside, young Coffey as well, did really, really well. But I'd say the two of them are going to be spoken to now, and possibly 2 yellow cards, because when I think they got mixed up on who owned what hurl. Both the hurls were over near the StayCity sign at the end.
Well, Joe, ultimately all this favours Kilmacud. They lead by 3 points. We're going to spend another minute or maybe minute and a half administering justice now, and the referee catching up with the cards that have to be issued to the substitutes. Coffey and Considine will be his first port of call. I suggest then he may go in and have a look at what happened to Shawnee McClellan. There could be a third one coming there. Already we've seen Brian Sheehy given 2 yellow cards. In the first game we had Rona McLaughlin and Jonathan McGurk given their marching orders for picking up pairs of yellow cards each. Yes, it's as we suspected, Considine and Coffey being yellow carded. I don't think any kind of a particular issue.
Shawnee McLennan looks in serious bother here now, so your keeper.
He is gone.
Oh, that was late. That
Leaving
was
the
late by
hurl
Brian.
lane. Yeah, he left the hurl lane, didn't he?
And it's not like there's not that in him, but Shawnee looks...
Paul Rigney was furious about it, went across to immediately speak to Brian Hayes, but if the umpire has spotted that, and I suggest he has, he's now our match official, Damien Burnett, speaking to Brian Hayes, and it's been a busy period for the referee, trying to control the temperature of this particular game, and well, Brian Hayes is possibly fortunate to get off with a yellow there.
Yeah, possibly fortunate. Like again, coming in at full pace. He's obviously done something serious to McClellan hand-wise. I think it's young Murray that's gone in.
Killian Murray, I think so. Yeah, Killian Murray is in, and it's hard to get up to the tempo of this game. 60 minutes elapsed, and now to compound the suffering, Brian Hayes, the man who forced McClellan off the field of play, has got his second point of the afternoon and possibly sealed the deal for Kilmacud Crokes here by putting them 4 points up, 18-14. Lucan restart quickly. Time not on their side. They've got to work something quickly, and ever so quickly at that.
But there's nobody inside though. That's Deshaun. It's incredible to think that you're 4 points down. There's nobody up now. We have 2 in there, but like John Bellew had no option there except to just pass the ball back.
Kilmacud are very clever too, though. They've got the manpower there, and the matchups look good in the sense, they've tied Paul Crummy up and held him to a single point. If you look at the scoring return from the starting Lucan Sarsfields attack, there, Jack Behan a point, Charlie Kerr a point, Paul Crummy a point, Kieran Dowling a point, and Ben Coffey has only got one from play.
If he goes at it, if the legs are right again, he's well capable of over the bar. Good score.
He took on Ronan Smith on the outside, and he got himself a point, he being a certain Alex Considine, who in the first minute of stoppage time stretches out the advantage to Kilmacud Crokes 19 points, Lucan Sarsfields 14.
Yeah, you'd imagine that's it now from a result point of view, unless Lucan can grab a goal here very, very, very quickly. But disappointing because the opportunity was there, just didn't, maybe that real goal scoring chance that they had. Kilmacud were willing to take a yellow card for it and snuff out the goal scoring opportunity, but Lucan now need to get something against Nafina from if my maths are right, and whereas Kilmacud will march on. And again, I think Kilmacud at the moment are still only in second gear.
Here we go, Considine once more.
Snapped at it.
Went from the other side, and while it was the same wing, he didn't have the accuracy on the shot. And as we move into the second minute of stoppage time, it's going to take 2 Lucan goals, and I don't see anything in the previous 61 minutes that suggests they're going to come easy.
That's great
Shane Coffey lofted it down. Tis, yeah. Really clever. Oh, it's given away very poorly indeed. Brendan Kenny. And a takedown there on John Bellew. There was no way they were letting him through. And, well, you can call it cynical, you can call it necessary, you can call it whatever you like. But Oisín O'Rourke, one of the smaller men on the Kilmacud team, just lowering the body and making sure that there was no way that Lucan Sarsfields were going to find an opening there in the dying embers of this game.
Time is up now. Again, going back to score, I don't think scoring difference will matter here. I think that Ben probably has to go for it, unless there's a conversation about how Bakula put up such a big scoreline earlier on.
Yeah,
he just puts it over.
Kula, for the record, did hit 128 to St. Bridget's 13 points. Ben Coffey's got himself another, which gives him a personal tally of 9 points, 4 from frees, 1 from a sideline cut. He did score a beauty from open play, but it
conversation
was
with the referee here now. I don't know what's going on with scores or something, is it?
I'm not sure as to what exactly it is, but either way, it's Bill O'Carroll who at wing back has helped himself to 2 great points and played a very fine match. I don't see anybody getting involved there in the administration of score difference and the like. It's possibly beyond his pay grade, but nonetheless, Shane Coffey latches on to this and takes on his man. Bellew.
Give it into Crummy. If he wants a chance of a goal, Chris is in there now.
Well, it's certainly got the height, and it's directed at Crummy, and he unfortunately can't keep that one in play. I don't think the ref has time for much more. He's allowed 3 minutes, and Will this puck out be allowed to happen? Eddie Gibbons has the Schlitter in hand, taking his time. There'll be another play or two in it, decides the ref. That's nicely done. Bellew, he's had a storming last 5 minutes. Yeah. His dad, of course, Jerry, is one of the mentors in Lucan Sarsfields. That one is sent in, and the keeper is allowed it into the net. Oh, that's catastrophic. Absolutely disastrous. I think poor old Eddie Gibbons thought he had all day long.
It's the sun again. I keep saying to you, that sun is dipping all the time. I've been at the
Dowling.
end of that before, but now will he allow time for a puck out? There's only a point in it. Lucan have to win this ball to get a draw. If they get a point out of it.
This is incredible. This is some finale, because Kieran Dowling, I thought, was obviously aiming for Crummy inside. It hopped in front of the keeper, and we have to put it down to the elements.
You have to run it now and draw the free, though, so he has to be careful with this ball, and you have to have the time. Kieran Dowling has to be out looking for the ball here now if he wants it.
Well, Ronan Smith can't afford to dilly-dally in his own defence for too long, and he's given a ball to nothing really there. That's going to be rescued by Brendan Kenny.
Brilliant,
from a Kilmacud perspective. One separates them. We're into the 5th minute of stoppage time. This is good from Kenny. Greyhound-like, marching down the park, offloading. Kilmacud still in possession. Whiteley.
No free.
Great hit.
Yeah, no free.
Ronan Smith, 10 versus 10, and there's time for more. So after that Dowling goal, we have been treated to a very unlikely and very dramatic finale. Is there time for Bellew to get this one up the park?
He has to take contact.
He's got 50 metres to advance into.
Yeah. Smart now as well. He played it off the ground.
Sure. And he's given a dangerous enough ball to Matt McCaffrey. Fullback wants it. He's available as Rigney. Oh, the ball was just a little bit behind. It got a touch on its way. That's the wrong way, Paul Rigney.
You have to run it.
Can Dowling find a way through? Rigney. They're inside Kilmacud territory, but there's a man in the middle. What a pass. Can he take it? The substitute. Can he engineer a score? Sean Harkness giving it back. It's Charlie Kerr. He has drawn the contest in the 6th minute of stoppage time. Incredible.
That's character, though, in fairness. Serious character there.
Well, it looked as if Lucan Sarsfields had conspired to do everything to blow the opportunity.
Crokes
but when Charlie Kerr got onto it,
they needed that point. Yeah, sorry, Sean, forgot the cross. Like, real excitement at the end. Bit of leadership, bit of steel from... like a lucky as well, maybe that bit of a goal, but you can see what it means. You can see Chris and that going over. Like, that's a serious point for Lucan to get when they were dead and buried. Well, it took an eternity for that ball to work its way through the phases, to find its way into the arms of Charlie Kerr, and after a couple of others, and there's a little bit of afters out there. I noticed Chris Crummy trying to cool down a few of his opponents, but I think when normality and common sense prevails, Kilmacud will ultimately, we made the point several times in the course of commentary, particularly in the second half, that they held the most dangerous of leads. I think at one point they did surge into a 6-point lead. We needed two Lucan goals at one stage. Lo and behold, they got the most unlikely of goals from Kieran Dowling from inside his own half. It hops in front of Eddie Gibbons, and lo and behold, he's running back like a poor desperate keeper trying to claw it out of the back of the net. He couldn't do so, and lo and behold, one attack later, Charlie Kerr steps up, fires over the equalising point, and my oh my, the crowd, while they're small in number, they've been treated to some drama in stoppage time here, Joe. Oh, they have, and look, while the quality wasn't great at times, the excitement was similar to last night's game as well, like that bit of excitement at the end. I think Kilmacud will be disappointed that they only seem to be kind of going through the motions. It wasn't the Kilmacud that I've been used to seeing over the last couple of years.
Gear quite
just a few times. Yeah. I just felt that they weren't really. I know Lucan had more at stake than Kilmacud had today, but that's a point dropped. Lucan had to get a point out of today, or else go into the Nafina game, really having to get it for fearing that they were going to be in serious trouble. So look, it showed a bit of spirit at the end, a bit of excitement that last 10 minutes. You can see the Crokes lads dejected going off. Some really good scores, but you can see the leadership that's in the group. I thought Ronan Smith had a good game. John Bellew, you said it, like for me, that last 5 minutes when you needed somebody to stand up and be a man, which is, he was a man coming out with ball now as well. But look, Crokes will learn a lot from today as well, that you can't just go through the motions. You have to put a team away if you're on top. But fair play to Lucan, really, really a good response when nobody would have given him a chance, including you and me probably when there was 4 or 5 points in it. But in fairness to Chris and to John and to young Kerr as well, they did really well to get a point out of it.
Well, they like to leave it late, that's for sure, and that was as dramatic as finales go. As we pointed out, Kieran Dowling's goal, and here we see that incredible opening. It's Dowling again, blazing it across the face of goal.
Yeah, he had a big chance there to start off on the right foot. I thought Oisin was exemplary, from his frees, from his shooting as well. As you said, he's a small man, but he's well capable of his efficiency. His shooting is very, very good. Like with some really good scores. There was lulls at times in the game as well. It was a big step up, I think, on the first game, but very, very impressed with some of the young players for Kilmacud at times. But I'd still say that there's more in them. And I don't think, like in young Purcell, I think he went off with what seemed to be kind of quite a significant injury.
It's a fine point he got there just in that last clip.
But even think of the time there where McClellan's in goal. You know, he possibly Hayes is lucky to stay on the field. Possibly, you know, like Brian's a good guy. There's no malice or whatever in it at all. And then McClellan goes off, and the keeper makes a terrible puck out, and you're thinking that's it now, dead and buried. And that one ball into that dipping sun, I've been unfortunately the victim of that in a significant game too. And that sun can be so harsh at that end of the field. And unfortunately for young Eddie, you know, he made a mistake, and the ball ends up in the back of the net. But look, it's all to play for now going forward into week 5, so I look forward to being back here, please God, in a couple of weeks' time again.
Brian Sheehy's dismissal coming as it did very late in the game, it did unsettle the full back line.
Yeah, you're right. You made the point at the time that, you know, would this be a factor? It unsettled him because, like,
that ball probably wouldn't have hopped if he was
maybe not.
He's
a solid guy. You know, he was in there all day. He's, you know, I do like him probably further out the field rather than at 3. I think he's better at 5 or 7. But look, the character that Lucan, the big thing for me was when they got back to a point, they had to run the ball. They had to run the ball into contact in order to try and draw a free. And then you have a guy who missed 2 frees. We both questioned at times about, you know, you should be scoring that efficiency needs to be better from your free taking. But geez, when you pop up at the end to get an equalising score, I think Crokes missed Quillan Conway an awful lot today. I think at 11 he kind of orchestrates things. He's like the puppet master in around there. He does an awful lot of donkey working off the 6 as well, and I think they missed him a lot today. And again, going back to what we said earlier on, the talent that they have coming through, they have some of their injured guys coming back. You know, Ronan looked a little bit off it today. Again, got game time into him. Alex got a great score, had 2 poor wides. This fella again, I think, could have gone again to know further towards the goal. So Crokes will learn an awful lot. The 3 lads that have been involved with them for a number of years now, they're smart enough to realise that they'll put it to the players this week that some of the play wasn't good enough at times, and to allow Lucan back into that game, you could say nearly was criminal for how far they were ahead at the time. But it is what it is, and that's why we love the game that we do. You know, it's so close. When there's only 3 or 4 points in it, it can still be anybody's game.
We saw, apart from the 4 points from play, that glorious toe-to-hand pick-up from Conall O'Rian as well, in the game in which he demonstrated so many good things. You have McClellan keeping balls out, keeping points from going over the bar. On big games, do such small margins decide ultimately the outcome, and the game pivots. But, you know, for 65 minutes, 64 minutes anyway, Kilmacud had pretty much all the momentum, the bulk of the play, and looked the likely team that were going to prevail.
That was a seriously, like that one there by Bill. You know, he grabbed the hurl smart to a point, but it was a real goal scoring opportunity at a pivotal time.
I think that Walsh may, just on the benefit of a replay, which obviously the referee doesn't have, been inside the 20-metre line.
Possibly, yeah. And again, when you're inside. See, when you're inside, you see that idea that, like, Crokes were being smart there, but I still think there was times where they shot over their shoulder down on the left hand side rather than taking the man on. That was the bang that young Purcell got. Seemed to be quite significant to the face or to the head, and you can see Kieran Dowling putting his
it ended
put 2 hands out, like it ended his game. Yeah, wasn't in it as much as he normally is today. Didn't get the space to be in it as much. I was really impressed with Rollo Smith in around the middle. Like, he gave Brian Hayes an awful hard time, but like, he's very good as a man marking midfielder.
He set out his stall really early, didn't he? That this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to torment you for the afternoon. And by and large, I suppose, with the outcome being as it did, he carried the day to an extent.
Yeah, and you can see that he getting sent off there, and, you know, this the one on
McClellan's departure from the action, which allowed young Killian Murray in.
It seemed to be on the shin. He's holding his shin there, and Shawnee had made of good stuff as well. Like, he wouldn't go down too easy, so Brian, there's not a bad bone like that in Hayes' body, so he wouldn't have meant anything malicious by it. Great to see that guy back on the pitch again, Considine. You know, he's a big future ahead, I think, if we can keep him injury free. And then this big moment came, you know, a big high lofty ball in. Dowser hit a big ball in, and Eddie came out towards it, allowed the ball to drop, and whatever way it hit the sod, it ended up in the back of the net. So one of the Crokes guy gets a reminder, but this took a bit of character, and you look for characters on big days and a big moment, and this was Lucan's season, really, if you look at it, because whether they'll get a point off, you see Shawnee McClellan there going across on the crutches, and that could be a broken bone in a leg there now.
Official confirmation now as a result, and John McCarthy made the point to me earlier this afternoon that Coola needed a favour from Lucan Sarsfields. They haven't got one. They're now in a relegation playoff. And you see the table reading Nafina at the top on 4 points. Lucan Sarsfield Sarsfields in second on 4, joined with Kilmacud, Crokes on 4, and at the bottom it's Coola on 3 and Bridget's on 0. What sort of odds would you have got on that before the championship begun, Joe?
Incredible, really, when you look at it. It is an awfully tough group. Somebody from Crokes, Lucan, Nafeen or Coola, I didn't know that was confirmed, but somebody from that 4 were going to be there. I suppose based on what I said earlier on, longevity and numbers and whatever, like Coola, it's surprising to see them there. But at the same time, you look at where Nafina and Lucan and Crokes are in regards to the players that they have coming through at an underage capacity, and for some maybe it won't be a surprise, but it's a tough day for Coola if that's the scenario that they're in now.
Joe, it's been a pleasure. Thank you sincerely to those of you tuned in at home. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage over the course of the afternoon, beginning with St Bridget's against Coola, followed up by Lucan Sarsfields' draw with Kilmacud Crokes, 19 points to 116. A most unlikely comeback from the Lucan Sarsfields men, firing over the equalising point in the 6th minute of stoppage time. To those behind the scenes that have helped bring us this afternoon's production, we say a heartfelt thank you. To those of you at home for listening, thank you. We'll be back very soon with further action from the Dublin Senior Hurling and Football Championships. But until then, have yourselves a very good evening.